is Yosef Bilal Bruer with ESFIworld.com, and I'm here for GESL for day number 3 with Evil Genius's DeMusliM. DeMusliM, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty okay. I'm a little tired, but yeah, I've had an okay tournament.
That's good, man. Well, let's talk about MLG Spring Championship. Last week at MLG, you were eliminated in Open Losers Round 3 by a player named Sandbox. What do you think went wrong for you at MLG, and was it nerves or anything like that going into it, or do you just feel like you just didn't have the right play in the Open bracket?
MLG is a great tournament, like an absolutely fantastic tournament. I'd probably say it's leading the way, for the whole scene in general, like even the Korean scene. I mean, GSL has the prestige, but MLG, they have the backing somehow and get the viewers, you know. Right. But they have absolutely awful PCs. They've had this problem for like the longest time. Every tournament I have at an MLG, my mouse drivers don't work, and they conflict, so I have acceleration off and on. And it's just got to the point where I had to change PCs several times for one map alone, because the FPS was dropping to, I think, 12 in-game, which it's unplayable. And it just got to the point where I honestly did not care anymore. And yeah, I mean, I'll give praise when they deserve it, which they do. Like the amount of respect and stuff they have and exposure they have is awesome. But the fact that they can't have decent PCs, I mean, this is a much smaller LAN. This isn't open to like millions of people or whatever. But they've actually managed to get really awesome PCs and set up and treat the players really well. MLGs, I can be there for the whole day and not even play a game. It's pretty pathetic, actually. And yeah, it just got the better of me.
Yeah. Well, after those kind words you just had for GSL, how did you feel about this event overall? About your practice, maybe food and drink distractions, things like that? Was everything else okay for you?
Yeah, I mean, I have to reiterate, the PCs and stuff have been absolutely perfect. Player conditions have been awesome. We haven't been bombarded by fans in the player area. It's just been players. You get to walk around, do what you want. You get to stay in the players area, which is a big thing for me. If I've just been knocked out, or if I'm still in the game, or I still have to play, I want to carry on practicing, you know?
Definitely.
And that's one thing at MLG. If you get knocked out, you have to, or if you stay in the tournament, you have to leave the players area. You get told to leave. The Koreans, they get told they can stay. It's all very biased, and I mean, in MLG, there's nowhere for you to go apart from back to the hotel if you want to just chill out, you know? I want to stay and watch the game still. I want to practice. I want to do my own thing without having to worry about putting on the best appearance. And I don't have to worry. It's a tournament where I can play my game. I got to practice a lot. They got a lot of volunteers driving us to net cafes here, there, and everywhere before the tournament, which was awesome. If I had anything to say negative, it would just be I turned up one day at 9 o'clock and I didn't play until 9 p.m. that evening. So, and I mean 9 a.m. I turned up. So it was a 12-hour wait. But yeah, besides that, I have no qualms whatsoever. I think the tournament's been run absolutely perfectly. Maybe a bit stretched out more than it should, but yeah, I mean, it's their first tournament, a little inexperience. I hope they do more tournaments in the future. It's been a pleasure to play here.
Nice. Well, let's talk more about your results this weekend. You beat Axlav 2-1, and then just barely lost to MVP Tails 1-2 on Friday. I can remember not too long ago when you said you hated TVP. Do you feel like your TVP is getting a little bit better? And what do you think has been improving about it, or improving you in your play, really, in TVP?
My TVP, it's still a hard matchup, don't get me wrong. But I feel more confident in the matchup. I feel I can do... This will sound backwards, but I feel I can do more stupid things and get away with them. They're things that don't make sense to me, but I just feel confident doing them anyway. It's almost like I'm mocking my opponent, but it's actually helping me play. And yeah, I just want to go into detail about that a little bit. There'll be things that I'm scared of, in the game, like a 6-gate or whatever, an Immortal push timing, Colossus push. But if you forget about all of that and just do what you want to do anyway, that tends to work out way better if you're not playing scared and stuff, which... And when I think about that, that's kind of makes sense that you're SCV producing or production's going well and Rex production, whatever, you know, it's all going smooth sailing, but you're not worrying. If you start to worry, then you can kind of cut SCVs a little bit, make an extra bunker or two if you don't need them, and then you get behind if they don't do one of the things you're worrying about. So yeah, I've just been playing less scared, and I guess in my eyes a little dumber, but a little smarter at the same time. But yeah, I just prepared a lot for Protoss. It was obviously my weakness, and Yeah, I think I've got much better at it. Against Tails, I was really sad losing. I played against
close games.
Yeah, I've played against that guy several times on ladder, and when he beats me, he cheeses me. And it isn't that often either. Like, he'll be the first one to admit that I beat him way more often than he beats me, and I just messed up. Like, he outplayed me. Like, I rallied something like 6 medevacs into his army and stuff. That was one of the days where I had to wait like 12 hours to play, and by the end of it, I was just like exhausted. So I didn't play my good game at all, and yeah, he just outplayed me. But yeah, I'm really happy with how I did in my group. Besides that, yeah.
Well, yesterday you made it into the top 4 of your group and made it to Championship Sunday today. How are you feeling coming into those games, knowing that you're going to play against MVP Monster, TvZ, and we've seen you show some pretty spectacular TvZ play against NST in the past. So how are you feeling coming into that?
TvZ's changed a lot in the past few months. Even without the patch, it's just the metagame's changed. Terran Micro doesn't mean as much as it used to. It still means a hell of a lot, but the difference between doing it amazing and perfect, it doesn't really get you anywhere. I'm not saying that any Terran can micro perfectly, but Zerg's much easier to play in that matchup right now than it used to be, and Zergs can get away with much easier things than they could before, such as droning up to 60 on 2 base or 3 base with 6 queens defending them. Queens don't cost larvae, which is a big thing. They're just produced in the hatchery. They can transfuse, they can inject, they can spread creep. The queen buff from 3 range to 5, that's changed the matchup like immensely to the point where we have a Zerg top 4 here. We had a Zerg top 3 up Spring Arena or something. Zerg winning MLG. Like, even GSTL, I think Terran versus Zerg, if I don't know if I got trolled, but Terrans was 0 to 13. So, like, yeah, the matchup's like, I really don't want to come across as a whiner because I've only just kind of started to lose faith in it, like this weekend. But yeah, I was really confident in the matchup like a little while ago. I seriously think Blizzard need to retract the queen change. Like, it's absurd. Like, it is. It's gross. And Terrans, no matter how well they play, I saw a Dream play against Golden, and without insulting Golden, like, Dream is a far superior player, like, and he didn't really stand a chance. Like, he was doing things all over the map, killing hives, spawning pools, great aspires, but it didn't get him anywhere. And like, after the game, like, all the Terrans kind of crowded around him. Like, every Terran here got knocked out by a Zerg, just to make that clear. Like, and they all crowded around and were just like, you played very well. Like, they kind of translated for me afterwards, and they were like, and I just heard him say, like, he said Zerg Imba, like Dream did, and it's just like, they all kind of just went, yeah, frick it, like, just walked out the room, you know. They didn't even, like, they watched the replay and they were looking at it going like, there's nothing you could really do, like, better, you know. You went, like, the greediest build possible. He didn't, like, punish you, but you still, like, didn't get ahead. So I can't remember the question, but I'm glad I got that little rant off my chest.
Oh, no, that was perfect, man. Well, how are you feeling about your final results overall of the weekend?
I wanted to come at least top 8. Like, I mean, DreamHack's going on right now, and that has a really stacked competition. But this tournament, it's got, like, several really, really top-end players, you know. They're all GSL worthy. But I do believe players like Tails, I can beat. Alicia, who's a PvT specialist and just recently came second at MLG, I took a macro game map off him, you know, and then lost to Cheese and then lost to Cheese again. Like, I do feel I can do much better, and I feel if I was lucky, I could have came top of that group and had a much easier opponent. But yeah, I don't feel I can beat a Zerg, like a top tier Zerg right now, and so yeah, top 4 was off limits. So top 8 was really what I was aiming for.
Well, let's talk about a little bit after tournament stuff. You're still at the EG lair currently. How's your practice regimen going there? And what do you feel you need to change overall, maybe about how you practice or maybe the strictness of your practice or anything like that? Or would you say everything's going fine with that and do you feel your play is up to par where you would like it to be?
Yeah, I like talking about questions like this. NASL recently, online tournament went really well for me. The last couple of weeks were a bit iffy. I got scheduled like ridiculous times, and I had a bit of a rant, and Duran Zeris had a bit of a rant too. Like, on Team Liquid, which there was a lot of he said, I didn't say that kind of thing going on. But yeah, so it didn't end as well as I would have liked. I think I could have gone like 8-0 in the group, which would have been phenomenal. But the one thing that I realize I do need to change is I just need to relax way more when I play. I'm way too tense. I'm way too nervous. I can be playing, I can be spamming like no other guy can, you know, but where does that get me in the end of the day? It just means I can misclick more. And yeah, so I've just realized I need to calm things down, relax a bit. I played a lot of ladder games while I've been here with the guys, and it's helped a lot just seeing them and playing with them. Before you look at these Koreans and you're like, wow, they're way out of my depth, you know, like, or I'm out of my depth, like even competing against these guys. But in practice, I've actually, against most of them here, except the Zergs, I've gone positive against. So yeah, I just need to start relaxing and have like more faith in myself.
Although you may have not got your top 8 spot that you wanted to at this event, you are currently 6-2 at NASL. How do you feel about your current run there and being 1 game away, I believe, from grasping a spot in the offline tournament, unless you've already been guaranteed that?
Yeah, I have to play Ret, I think, which is a Zerg, and a really good Zerg. Pretty annoyed, actually. Demago was a player that I played last, and yeah, just annoyed at the organization, actually, in general. There's so much miscommunication from NASL to all their players in that league. We've seen so many walkovers. We've seen so many bad things happen. And I mean, I'm one of the guys that NASL is my favorite league to watch, like hands down. You know, I absolutely love it. When I look at it on TV, like my friend, like my ex-roommate Kevin Van der Kooi, Rotterdam, like casts it and stuff. I love hearing him, and yeah, I know he has like great ideas and stuff, like he did over at ESL. But they need to fix how they communicate with players, because there's no real way to do it. I emailed the organization like 3 or 4 times. In fact, I won't get into that, but basically I asked for a reschedule 3 or 4 times. They didn't get back to me. Eventually I wrote on Twitter like, hey, NASL, you need to get back to me. I don't want to get a walkover. Instantly they got back to me. So like, they're very afraid about them being ruined publicly and stuff. But if they just got the message out there in the first place, they wouldn't have that problem, you know. And all these walkovers, it makes them look bad. It doesn't make these players look bad getting walked over, you know. Or it probably does, but not as bad as the league itself. But yeah, I forgot the question, sorry.
No, it was fine. I was just going to say, just how are you feeling over about your play, like being 6-2?
I feel like I had 3 Koreans in my group, and I beat all 3. I played well until the last 2 play days, but yeah, nothing else to say besides that. I feel like I played pretty good.
Well, let's just talk, hypothetically speaking, you get into, you do well in the offline tournament, right? And they invite you back for NASL Season 4. Even with all these problems and things that are going on right now, would you see yourself coming back to playing the tournament again?
I'll still play the tournament, like, for sure. I mean, I don't benefit from not playing in there. Like, me saying, hey, I'm going to boycott this thing, like, doesn't really, like, who benefits from that? Like, I don't, they don't. It would, like, be hampering myself more than it would be hampering them, you know, and I don't want to be, like, really spiteful about it. I mean, Season 1, I missed out because they said I couldn't play. I did an application video, and I was sure I could play in time, and they said no, I couldn't. They didn't talk to me, they didn't ask me, they didn't say anything to me. They just said, you cannot play in this league. And then everybody was like kind of outraged, because I was one of the, I won't say favorites, but I was one of the fan favorites going into it. And they were just like, they didn't answer for a long time. Then they eventually said, well, he had like this cast around his arm, like, and it wasn't a cast, it was just like some kind of like, it was like a
harness maybe?
Kind of like just to defend like the wound, if you like. So I was still like able to play, and it just, the fact that they didn't ask me or anything, it just really got to me. Then second season, I like messaged them, like emails, and said like, hey, I can't play this date, like please reschedule. I got no reply. Eventually the date came up, and I got, or they phoned Jeff in control and said Ben has to play now, like his match is now. And I sent them email, and they said they didn't get it at all, and said the EG also said that I didn't send anything, which is total crap, because EG actually sent the email, so they lied in a statement. And I got fined $200 for missing the match, which, considering I brought up proof that the message did get sent, it was just like, and they still kept the fine. I mean, there's a lot of things that just go really wrong in esports. Luckily, this isn't major stuff. I mean, but it's still stuff that could be massively improved upon with a little bit of communication.
Definitely. Well, after this tournament, like you said, you still have NASL, and then we have MLG Raleigh coming up. For the summer and fall of StarCraft 2, the season seems to just get more hectic for all the players as the year goes on. How hard is it to keep consistent and try and keep your play at the top level going throughout the summer and the fall and the winter?
It's pretty cool. I mean, the winter's the crappy part actually for a player. That's where you kind of like, you almost have nothing to play for. So you think like, what's the point in playing? Obviously you still can play, but literally everybody, like even the Koreans have a break, you know, which is nice. Everybody needs a break, otherwise you burn out. But summer, it's actually lovely having so much competition. It's like if you miss one tournament, there's another one in a day or two, you know. Right. So yeah, it's pretty easy to keep motivated and keep on the game. And given that there's so many tournaments about, there's so many strategies that you can copy and steal and what have you. Wow. And yeah, I mean, it's very easy to keep up, I think.
That's good, man. Well, thank you very much for this interview. Do you want to give any shout-outs or anything?
Shout out to Team EG and all its sponsors, Intel, SteelSeries, Monster, Kingston, InWin, Sapphire, Beyond Gaming. I think I got them all. But yeah, thank you for putting me where I am and bringing me to all these LANs, even though I don't always perform very well. Despite my results only being top 16 here, I still think I put forth some pretty good games. So yeah, I'd like to thank Team EG also. And
where can some of your fans maybe follow you at?
Obviously my fans too. Thank you for supporting me, and follow me on Twitter. My nick is DeMusliM on there, or at DeMusliM. I stream pretty regularly, and I'm going to get back to that too. I'm going to be massing games in the future, so thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, man.
Cheers.